Hello, folks. Welcome, welcome in. Welcome in. I don't know. It feels weird. It feels like it's been longer since I I last streamed. I am the Gothic storyteller, filmmaker, writer. How are you guys all doing? I forgot how to do this. When was my last stream? Let me check that because I know the last time I did stream it was Stranger Things. Um, so it has been 2 weeks. It's been over 2 weeks. It's been over half a month. Jesus Christ. Who'd have sat there and thought that just not streaming for a little over 2 weeks would make you feel rusty. Uh but I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys have been having a good 2020 I was going to say 2025, 2026. I hope you guys have been having a good new year. Let's just put it that way. Um Today isn't like really like the usual throwback cinema. It's I kind of like figure it's like, you know what, maybe I should just do a video where or a live stream where where I just discuss like some of the films that I've been watching this year, this month and everything, and just kind of like make it like a monthly thing. Like, hey, this is what I've watched. What have you guys been watching? Just conversation and all of that. uh I've sat there and seen a lot of channel growth here, which thank you guys so freaking much. It seems like you guys are really enjoying the new top five gothic horror films of the 1960s. If you guys have not seen that, then I urge you to go watch that and everything. Um, it's it was a trial. It was a trial getting that first video done, and I was like, can I do a list video? Like, this seems so simple. It seems so easy. I've watched so many. I've watched more Watch Mojo than what I have like in the last 3 years, probably longer than that. I used to be a very avid Watch Mojo fan, and then after a while, I just stopped giving a shit. It's like I was like, oh, nice. They've dropped another 10 of the greatest horror films, and like their films would like kind of like sometimes either change placement or they'll take one film out and throw another one in there. They do one like every year or so. I tend to kind of be more of a fan of like the Joe Blow videos that like they'll sit there and they have like Joe Blow horror, Joe Blow cinema, just whatever. um I think I tend to kind of enjoy those, and working on the new video, which I will explain the reason why January hasn't gotten a new video, because you guys are actually supposed to be getting a new video next week, but you're not. Um, so I got sick, life crap happens. I got sick, and I just thought, okay, I'm gonna be out 2 days. I can bounce back. I can get this video out and ready in time. And yeah, that cold took me out for like an entire week. I was lucky enough the week before to even get the top five, the first top five video done. Uh, and someone told me ahead of time, is like, hey, maybe you should start actually doing production scripts, you know, ahead just in case. So at least then, if you can't speak or if you can't use your voice, you can at least sit there and know what you want to cut, what to sit there and throw on the track, what all to sit there and do. Um, I still haven't even finished that script and everything. Like it's like 80% done. I just need to get off my butt and finish the production script. But either way, that's actually helped me out a lot more because I was able to go get the footage that I need. So that hopefully this will kind of help me turn out videos faster. It's just like, instead of just writing the script and be like, okay, these are my focus points that I need to do. I need to figure out what I need to do, narrator cam, what's b-roll footage, what all is needed. And I was like, no, you know what, I can take from this one old job that I had an interview for, and then they threw me into a tryout, and I was like, why am I not using their time code thing that they used? And so that's what I started doing, is time coding everything. And if there's something of a specific scene that I need to go find that video for, then I'll go do it. But yeah, I've been out for an entire week, and with that, I have watched an assortment of films. Not all of them were the week that I was sick. But in between working, binge watching sitcoms and everything, because January is still kind of like that post holiday depression stuff, and like now you have to kind of get reacquainted with your own depression. I'm like over here, it's like I need to watch more than just horror films. I need to watch some comedies. So I've been like watching Drew Carey show. I've been binge watching that like crazy again. Started Schitt's Creek, which, oh my god, I really did wish that I watched this a lot sooner. It's a really fantastic show. And then what was it? There was like another sitcom. I cannot remember what it was. But I know I finished the Norm show before the end of the year of last year. I finished the Norm show. That show should have went on a lot longer than what it did. It's like it deserved at least the run that the Drew Carey show got. And funny enough, it's actually made by the same production people. But movies. We're here to talk movies. And one of the first film that I actually saw this year, it's been a film that I've been very, very curious about watching, mostly because of just how I feel about Warner Brothers' animation, more so how it's handling the Looney Tunes IP. I mean, like quite literally, David Zaslav thought that no one gave a crap about Looney Tunes, and so he took it off HBO Max, and he started practically gutting everything that was Boomerang, and he was like, "Oh, we don't need this. This doesn't help sell the product." And I was like, "What, sir?" When I first got HBO Max, one of the big things that I went to was the childhood cartoons that I know that were going to be there. Um, God, that angered me so much. And I think what kind of adds to that anger is this Looney Tunes movie called The Day the Earth Blew Up. I've been looking forward to this film. It's been out for quite a while. It's not a new film. It came out like in 2024. So like I'm like a year behind of even watching this movie. Way over a year. And I'm like, you know what? I need to sit there see this. Like I see the ads for it all over HBO Max when I forgot what show I was binge watching on there, but it kept going and I kept quoting the ad over and over again. I was like, I need to sit down, I need to watch this movie. I gotta sit there and see what this is all about, because apparently what this is what David Zaslav and company wanted over the Coyote versus Acme film. So I was going into this film with some freaking hype of, hey, let's see what this got. And yeah, I was streaming tonight. I thought I told you that, sis, but yeah, no. I'm only gonna do a small stream because again, I'm just sitting here just talking about a handful of films that I watched while I was sick, and pretty much just throughout this month and everything. It's gonna be a short one. It's not gonna be a long one. Um, but yeah, no, The Day the Earth Blew Up. Like I could actually pull up the review because I have my letterbox. I gave it a 1 star. First film in the new year. Gave it 1 star. I was like, the beginning kind of was okay. It had like a nice vignette, kind of a good throwback to some of the earlier uh Porky Pig and Daffy Duck cartoons. And then it kind of lost itself. I feel like this is the same this was the same thing that happened with Beetlejuice, where strong opening, strong closing, but the math don't math in the middle because really you don't even recall much of what's in the middle. Um, and I kind of felt like maybe this could have just been a short. This could have been a short. Like one thing that I don't really like about modern day Looney Tunes is they don't really do the old school way of like, hey, like we're not gonna try to do a TV show. We're just gonna do shorts and just get a bunch of really really good stories, put them all together and just make a couple of shorts. They don't have to be canonically connected or anything like that. um I felt like this could have been a short. It's like what is the runtime on this bloody film? It's too fucking long. I'll tell you that. Because I thought it should have been a short. I'm actually trying to look at, does Letterboxd not give you I guess it does not give you the times. So this is an hour and a half film. So again, I like hour and a half films. I think films should go back to that time frame of that being a max, with like 70 minutes being like, the bare minimum. But yeah, no, did not like this. Technically, it's the directorial debut of Pete Browngardt, who did the Looney Tunes cartoon. I'm guessing that's like the new Looney Tunes show. He had prior working experience on Futurama, The Venture Bros, Chowder, Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, and Adventure Time. Really, this dude has like a lot of really really good influences. I just wish that those influences were, put to good use in this film, because I did not like this film. The Day the Earth Blew Up, I wrote in my review, who greenlit this garbage, says the silhouetted audience member leaving the theater. The film was so self-aware of just like how terrible it was, that I'm just like, bro, what the hell? Uh, like really, what the hell? I'm wondering how many people are clicking on my Instagram story and everything, because instead of me putting YouTube, I actually put OnlyFans. I wonder how many people have actually clicked on that link and they're like, "Oh my god, he got that. He made one," and it's like, "Psych! Now you're in my stream. Now you're stuck." But welcome in. but uh, but yeah, no. Who greenlit this garbage? That's practically what I have to sit there and say about this film. I did not like this film, and I was like, wow, I can't believe first film that I watched, and I had high hopes for it. I didn't go into this film wanting to hate it, you know, but watching it, I just felt very let down. Um, it felt like it wanted to be one thing, and then it just kept developing into this and into this and into this. Daffy Duck apparently struggling to find work, starts twerking his ass on TikTok, and he immediately gets canceled. That's probably one of the few funniest moments of that film, actually. It's probably one of the few things, was like Daffy is struggling to find work because, they're kind of like they're farm animals, and they live in this neighborhood where the HOA wants to get rid of them because they just don't like their house and they just don't like them. And so Daffy's like, all right, well, we'll go find work. And yeah, work didn't work out for him. And so he's like, we'll just be TikTok famous and that'll bring in the money. And so he starts doing all these really terrible TikToks, twerking and everything. And like, I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. But yeah, no. I cannot wait for I actually really have now low standards for Coyote versus Acme, because to be honest, after seeing what I just saw, I don't think that film could be garbage whatsoever. Apparently the story was by James Gunn, Jeremy Slater, and Sammy Birch. Sammy Birch wrote the screenplay to it, and David Green directed it. Supposed to be out August 28th. God, we gotta wait to the whole other half of the year. Well, who knows? By then, I'll probably forget how horrible the Day the Earth Blew Up by then, and maybe I'll have some hope for Coyote versus Acme. I love the premise of that, where Coyote is just practically suing Acme corporations for all of his accidents and everything. The next film I watch is actually really, really good. I've seen it before. I have this really, really weird obsession with it. In my like early 20s with this film, and I still kind of do, because more of the obsession is through the screenplay. And I don't know why it didn't click until I was much, much older with this film, that this is essentially a film. The film is Five Easy Pieces, by the way. Five Easy Pieces. The film is about someone that absolutely hates themselves to the point that when they try to find love elsewhere, they kind of realize that that love is not very satisfying. The feeling immediately goes away. and he starts becoming cold and callous. Five Easy Pieces is a Jack Nicholson film. This was practically the peak decade of him. Was Nicholson in the 70s was he was on everything. Not everything, but like his work. I think the 70s is like his best work possible. I love his work in the 60s when he was, doing the Roger Corman stuff, and he was um kind of finding like his bearings and whatnot. I enjoy seeing that, but I don't know. I kind of feel like once the 80s came, he kind of became a caricature of himself, and then the 90s came, he kind of reinvented himself. He started doing some of those uh dramedies that I think actually kind of sold better in time than kind of what they did when they were released. But Five Easy Pieces, it's a film about this piano savant player. He ends up leaving home because of some disgruntled issues with family. And he's practically kind of like on the run until he learns about his father's stroke, and that they don't know how long he has left to live. They don't even really know if he's gonna die, I think, immediately or anytime sooner. But it's more of the like, you need to at least come see your father, before, just in case. And so he ends up doing that, and along the way, he's dragging behind his pregnant girlfriend, who he loads very much. Like, he completely mistreats Karen Black throughout the entirety of the film. There are moments he does stand up to her where I kind of do think, well, maybe he does actually care, but he doesn't care enough that a lover should. Like, it's more the like, when he's around the social elites and those that think that they're better, or they just kind of walk around thinking that they're better than everyone else, and then he sees how they mistreat Karen Black's character. He kind of feels like this obligedness to like, no, I got to stand up for her, like, but at the same time, I think he just doesn't like that. He doesn't like that atmosphere. He doesn't like those people who will sit there and talk down and like point fingers at and everything. He doesn't like that, but at the end of the day, he just doesn't like the person he's with. And he even goes so far as has like an affair, and he wants to be with her, and she doesn't really want to sit there and be with him. She wants to work on her career, and yeah, it's not a film for everyone, but I think it is a film that I think a lot of people need to see, because I kind of feel like we do live in a society where a lot of people hate themselves more than they love each other. Um, or they'll go and they'll give as much love as they can to other people, but they will refuse that love to themselves, thinking that um they are unworthy of self-love and all that other stuff. It's a great film. It's a great film. If you haven't seen it, wonderful film. It was one of those scripts too that I constantly read, kind of like The Exorcist 3, where I read the earlier draft trying to figure out um what William Peter Blatty was trying to say. But this one right here, Carol Eastman, who wrote the screenplay to Five Easy Pieces, she wrote a tremendous script. For some reason, the last time it took it like a long time for me to read. My focus has been atrociously horrible, just atrocious. But Bob Ralphison, if I think I've said his name correctly. He's worked with Jack Nicholson quite a few times. I think he was more big in the 70s and everything, but like he did like Head for with the Monkees, which was like a documentary style film. He did The Postman Always Rings Twice with Jack Nicholson. I think that would be like their second time of them collaborating. Um, he did like Blood and Wine. He did Man Trouble. So he's worked quite a bit with Jack Nicholson in his filmography. Like, he's at least done 3 films that I can at least sit there and see just from the cover pages. But if you haven't seen Five Easy Pieces, definitely give that a watch. It's it's one of those drama films that really we don't get too much anymore, because I kind of feel like in today's cinema thing is that if it's not some type of grand action adventure story, a lot of people struggle to focus on that. Um, and this is like one of the very few like just pure dramas that it's like this needs to be on everyone's list to watch. At least watch it once. You know, you got a lot of Jack Nicholson's like quips and everything, like when he's trying to sit there and order a simple meal at a diner, and this woman, this waitress is telling him, we don't do substitutes or whatever, like you have to have the meal as it is. And so they go through this long way of him trying to sit there and get what he wants, and he tells her to hold the chicken, and she was all like, well, where do you want me to hold the chicken? And he flat out states, I want you to hold it between your knees. And it's all like, damn. uh I love the just the quick wit and sarcasm, and I think that's what drew me at a young age, because I love Jack Nicholson's humor. But I think more as like an adult, I stick around more for the dramas that he does. Fabulous film. I gave it like 4 stars. One of my favorites. And yeah, it definitely feels like soul seeking, and I kind of felt like I kind of did that with a little bit of some of these films on my list. Some of these are not soul seeking. Some of these are generally films that I have an interest in and potentially doing future videos on. So, you know, I'm kind of watching them. One of them, I I got to do a video on just Italian cinema or Italian horror cinema, because there is something about Italian cinema, horror cinema. Almost everything seems like a dreamscape. Nothing feels real. Everything feels very, I don't want to say phony, but it feels very it feels very out of body. And The Church is another one of those. It's a very strange Gothic-esque film reminiscent of the Demons duology. This film was supposed to be. You can discuss after you're done what your thoughts on. Oh, okay, yeah, I will, because I did see that. I'll do that real quick. Well, that'll be like a little break in between this and The Church. But yeah, The Church. It's supposed to be like the third Demons movie, and it shows in the film's later half. Very moody beginning, and then it ends in chaos. This film does. If you know the Demons movies, you know that those are very much popcorn flick Italian horror films. While those don't feel like dreamlike, they just feel like the funness of, oh my God, everyone's going to come to the movies and we're all going to have a good time. We're going to watch a really good film. We're probably going to scream and laugh and have a good time. And as these people are doing this, other people behind the scenes are getting ripped to shreds and turned into demons. And then the whole theater just erupts into chaos, and it's like, it's complete carnage whatsoever. The Church is kind of like that, but more so in its later third act of the film. But the whole beginning, it plays very, very moody. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Argento's Phenomena and Suspiria, where it feels very dreamlike. And there's even essence of John Carpenter's The Prince of Darkness in this, where, oh, we're actually getting some lore, and that there's this church that is hiding behind or not hiding behind, but this church that was built on a place that is evil, and this church is meant to essentially prevent this evil from escaping. And it's like, oh my God, like, is the evil going to get out? Like, we have an interesting cast of characters, and then halfway through the film, they just start dropping off like flies, and it's like, oh crap. And then they start really dropping, and it's like, all right, I could see now when I looked up this film that it was supposed to be the third Demons film. It's like, yeah, you could tell in the whole final act and kind of like the latter half of Act 2. It's like people just start dying in grotesque ways. Some of them, it's like you want to look away, but you really want to sit there and see, how did they do that? Like, that was so tightly edited. And yeah, sure, some of the gore is a little bit laughable, but you're just like, wow, what the hell? The less said about this film, the better. The Church is like a really, really good film. If you love your Italian horror films that will leave you either scratching your head wondering what have I watched, um or if you just want something a little bit squeamish, this is the film for you. Yeah, you have to get through the moody first act and everything. Just deal with it. It's actually really, really well paced, in my opinion. And I've seen a lot of films that are very moody and eerie, and it's like, God, like, get on with it. But The Church keeps you interested, keeps you asking questions, and in the moment crap hits the fan, you're actually really wondering. It's like, God, when's it gonna be enough? When's this gonna stop? What the hell? So it's a very, very great film. Let me actually try to see who directed this. Michael Soavi, I believe. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with my Italian. But yeah, Michael Soavi directed this film. I don't think I've seen anything else. Oh no, I actually have. I've seen Cemetery Man. Okay, so I love Cemetery Man. The Church I probably wouldn't put up there with a constant return, but the film is produced by Dario Argento, so kind of feels like you have some Argento fields to it. Oh, he also wrote it. Special effects. I don't know anyone on that list whatsoever. But Michael's work and everything, I've seen some of his horror stuff. I've seen The Sect. I've seen Stage Fright. No, so I've at least seen 4 of his films. I still need to see Dario Argento's World of Horror. That's probably the only thing of his that I have not seen. Everything else looks like War Pictures and whatnot. So yeah, my quick thoughts, because Sis has brought this up in the chat, and I know you guys probably can't see chat whatsoever. He-Man, Masters of the Universe, trailer dropped today. I'm not hyped. I'm not hyped whatsoever. I feel like this is their way of trying to connect, because there's supposed to be like a Hasbro movie universe, I think, going on. And I think Barbie was the first one, and I think they're trying to figure out a way to connect He-Man to it. So they wrote a story where Prince Adam is from the land of Eternia. His mother doesn't want him being raised in this. So I'm guessing he's fatherless and everything. I guess dad must have died in a war. And so mom sends him away to Earth in a whole different dimension, and he's trying to find his way back home. And I thought it was odd that they put him, as like an office job. Yeah. So Prince Adams is like in an office job. And the He-Man universe, Masters of the Universe, is an actual cartoon in its universe. So the world in which he is from is based on these cartoons, or at least that's what we can assume. I don't like that. I think that's terrible writing, because that just leaves it open to, we could do meta commentary humor now. It's like, that's not He-Man. It really kind of feels bad that it feels like Masters of the Universe is actually going to be the most He-Man oriented film. And by Masters of the Universe, I mean the original one with Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella playing respectively He-Man and Skeletor. But my thing is, it's like, I kind of feel like He-Man should be a 2-person job. Some people are saying it had a mix of Star Wars in it. Well, I mean, if you kind of look at a lot of the technology, though, in He-Man, you could see the similarities in Star Wars. I don't know if He-Man was inspired by Star Wars to begin with, but yeah, I saw like a little bit of that, and I was like, okay, like that I'm not really upset. It seems more the premise of what they're selling it is that Prince Adams was sent to Earth, and Earth has a TV show called He-Man, which obviously has toys and action figure lines, because that's what the show was based off of, was an action figure line. And I just don't like that. Like, I want them to just take it straight. Play it as straight as possible, that, yeah, it may be a little bit laughable, but let the players play it straight. So then maybe at least the jokes will hit. Because I always hate it when when you're watching a comedy and everyone's in on the joke, it's like, no. It's like, it's kind of why comedy today sucks in movies. It's like everyone's in on the joke, and it's like, well, then that doesn't make the comedy funny because they know it's a joke. It's, yeah. But I do like the Skeletor look. I do like the Skeletor look. I will say that myself. I do enjoy. It's funny they didn't let Jared Leto speak whatsoever in the trailer. I think they're trying their best to not let people know that that's Jared Leto playing Skeletor. But I saw on Facebook someone made comment of how they got the evil characters right. Yeah, you know what? Like, if they ever did a movie, it's just the villains of He-Man, I would watch that. With the production that they did for the villains of this, for like Man Beast, and I think isn't one of them's like Cyclops? I think they call him the Cyclops or whatever. He has it where like his head spins and he has a different type of beam, like a laser beam or like a frost beam or something. He has some type of elemental thing for it. It's all over Facebook that he's playing. Yeah, people know he's playing Skeletor, but if you look at that trailer without any of that information, you never would have thought that was Jared Leto playing Skeletor. And I think the advertising, because of all the recent bombs that Jared Leto's had in cinema, it practically going all the way back to Suicide Squad, I think they're trying to save that because, God, Tron Ares bombed. And I kind of enjoyed some of the trailers. I didn't watch all of them. But I was like, okay, this is interesting. It's like, instead of having a living person fighting against the system, it's something from the system that isn't real, who wants to be real. And he's being used as a weapon from the government. I like that concept. I like that because it kind of adds the question of can androids dream of electric sheep, essentially. I kind of like that. But yeah, I feel like Masters of the Universe is doing a smart thing by saying, and starring Jared Leto. Like, you know, it's because people look at it, if they know it's Jared Leto, then it's going to be like, yeah, no, this film killed itself. You know, metaphorically, YouTube, metaphorically. I know I'm really dancing on like, oh, I need to watch how I phrase things. But I hope the film comes out good. I don't really want to sit there and wish a film to fail. Really, I don't. I really was looking forward to this Masters Universe, but the first trailer does not have me hyped. I enjoy some of the things that I've seen from it. I've seen comments on people sitting there saying that Jared Leto's Skeletor better be leaving life lessons and running away. You know, like all those memes where someone does like the Skeletor voice and he'll say like the most outrageous thing ever that actually makes you think. And then he's like, until we meet again, you know, it's like, we got to see that. I want to hear Jared Leto do that. Like, until we meet again, you know, something a little evil. And then he just runs away into like a portal or whatever, or into a cave. I would like to sit there and see that. I would like to see maybe a little bit of that type of comedy, but I don't want it to be a meta comical piece or something like that. I don't think that's what that film deserves. And yeah, I think that's about it. I think to refrain myself from repeating myself. That's my thoughts on it. But back to my film. Thank you, Sis, for having me bring up He-Man to break this up. This next film, I'm just gonna freaking flat out say it. I've been interested in watching it. It's called Singles. I didn't even bother rating it because I think it's even below 1 star. I don't really have nothing against Cameron Crowe as a director. That had to be the most boring film I have ever seen this year. Like, at least there were some bits interested with The Day the Earth Blew Up. Singles was garbage to me. The only time it was good was when I started hearing the music from, like, you know, the other bands like Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and all that. Matt Dillon's band is practically the majority of Pearl Jam. Like Eddie Vedder is on there, I think, along with Jeff Emmett, and I can't remember the other guy from Pearl Jam. Yeah, Singles is just about it. Like I've always fantasized living in Seattle, like wanting to kind of live maybe either close to the city, have some type of apartment, and just enjoy the Seattle life. Yeah, no, watching this film, I was like, God, this is depressing. No wonder everyone was doing heroin in that time. That was like, oh my God. Uh, Jesus Christ. Um, yeah, no, that's Singles. I'm not even gonna I'm not even gonna sit there and go that far to talk about that film. That film's garbage. I think some people may love it for the nostalgia of the 90s. It kind of feels very 90s nostalgic for its take, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, no, not for me. Next. The next day, actually, after watching Singles, because I watched The Church and the Singles all in one day, I ended up watching The City of Lost Children. Uh, that is an interesting film. That is a film that I wonder why it does not get talked about a lot. Ron Perlman, for one. Early Ron Perlman, because this is like made in 1995. This is like, I think this was not too long after his run on the Beauty and the Beast. I am actually pulling this up, and this is of course like almost a decade. It's like 9 years before he did Hellboy, and that's where everyone fell in love with them, was Hellboy. But yeah, City of Lost. Yeah, he did Beauty and the Beast from 1987 to 1990. So 5 years later, he would do City of Lost Children, which is a fascinating film on capitalism. The whole premise is essentially there is like this mad scientist who constantly has nightmares, and he is aging rapidly. And so in order to prevent the nightmares and the rapid aging, he needs to live off. Oops, excuse me. Sorry. God, I really ate dinner too fast today. He puts these children in this machine, and he extracts their dreams, and it practically, I guess, leaves them like in a state where they're kind of like useless, and then he dumps them out to sea. It's very, very dark, very, very brutal. And there's a whimsicalness to the odd surrealism to this film. It's directed by a bunch of Frenchmen that I probably can't pronounce their names right. Jean-Pierre Jeunet and Marc Caro. They were the directors. I think they also produced it along with a whole bunch of other people. It was written by Jean and Mark along with Gilles Adrian. Again, I don't really know too much of the casting outside of Ron Perlman. There are a few characters I think you probably would have seen them in American films as like actual character actors and everything. Like you probably would have seen them once or twice. But like this does feel like a children's film, and it's very reminiscent of those children's films that I used to watch as a kid, that there was a really good lesson to learn watching this. But God, is it dark and bleak. Like, I remember growing up watching Secret of NIMH. Beautiful animation from Don Bluth's animation house, if I remember correctly. But like, I remember the owl being so scary and The Secret of NIMH. Hell, I still watch even to this day as an adult, The Last Unicorn. It's a beautiful, wonderful fantasy film. But when you start looking at Christopher Lee's King Haggard, and then you look at the Red Bull, it's pure horror. Like, the film knows when to scare you. And I really, really wish we were making children's films like that, where they were generally actually scary. Like they weren't all around scary, but they were more or less of like, if you screw around with with these characters, like something bad's going to happen to you. That's what this film implies very much. There have been some moments where I've gotten lost into the plot and everything. Ron Perlman's character comes in because he's like the adopted big brother of this child who ends up getting kidnapped by the Cyclops gang member that practically gives the kid up to the scientists and everything. And so it's like this race against time, trying to save them. There's a gang of orphan children that aid Ron Perlman, whose character's named One. He's like this carny, uh, you know, he's like this carny, uh, strong man. And he's kind of not all there in the head, but like it's not done like very out of taste and everything. But it's wonderful. Like I think this film does demand a second watch from us. I was looking here at Letterboxd at some of the popular reviews for it, and I actually really do like this review. It's like playing Bioshock at Terry Gilliam's house. That is that is the best way we can actually describe this film, because it feels like something Terry Gilliam would have done with its surrealism, and like the steampunk diesel punk look of the city. It's freaking beautiful, man. Like it's a beautiful film to be studied. I really kind of you know what? I really do hope that this gets a Criterion Collection release and they actually do a behind the scenes of I want to sit there and see how did they construct these sets. I want to sit there and see what did they do. Part of them were obviously matte paintings, but like oh dear lord. I would really want to sit there and see how did this film get made. Um it's a very wonderful, whimsical, dark, just beautiful film. It's what filmmaking should be. Um, it's kind of like a nightmare from Georges Méliès. I can add to that. Um, the next day, because I think this is whenever I'm starting to slowly recover. Yeah, because I recovered on Sunday, and that's when I kind of stopped doing these movie watches because I was trying to jump back into work. So the next day, on the 17th, I actually watched My Name is Bruce. Now, this film does not age well with its comedy to a certain degree. Like it's still your usual. I think it was, if it wasn't Sam Raimi, I think it's Ted Raimi that directed this. No, Bruce actually directed this. Holy God, no wonder it was so bad it's so good. But Bruce Campbell directed, produced. He didn't write it, thank God. But this was a guilty pleasure as a teenager. I love Bruce Campbell in Evil Dead films and The Army of Darkness. I love him in Escape from not New York, L.A. as the Surgeon General, Beverly Hills. I just love him overall as a wonderful actor. He has a lot of charm, a lot of wit. And this whole film has it where he plays a down on his luck version of himself, who is a B movie actor who doesn't really get the respect that he claims he wants. And so he gets kidnapped by a fan who needs him to help him defeat an ancient Chinese god, a bean curd. That's the premise. It's out there, but I at least like that. Um, if you know Bruce Campbell, then you understand my review for this: How to Defeat an Ancient Chinese God the Bruce Campbell Way. Um, Obviously, I don't support um, having a white man play a Chinese man with a very offensive accent who says words like English. Um, yeah, I don't really kind of support that, but at the same time, this is kind of one of those things that's like, God, I feel terrible. I still laugh at this. It's obviously not cultural appropriated, but I think when you see a film like this that does not get made anymore whatsoever, the film learns to make fun of itself. And I think that's what you need to kind of take away. Don't take this film seriously. Really, I think almost with any Bruce Campbell film, I feel like don't take it seriously. Um, but like this is just a film. Turn off your brain. Just enjoy some stupidity. You know, I feel like this is the film that if you watch The City of Lost Children, that this is like that's like eating a vegetable. But it doesn't hurt to have a cookie every now and then. And yes, I am comparing My Name is Bruce to a cookie. It doesn't hurt to have junk food every now and then. Just don't make it your diet. And you probably won't be writing lines like more hooch for the pooch. Great writing, but holy hell. My Name is Bruce. It's a wonderful film. Warlock. Warlock, this is a first time watch for me. These next two films, I did a double feature on Sunday when I started feeling human. I did a double watch, and quite literally in my review, they do not make films like these anymore. I really do miss the VHS 90s era, that if you had a fantasy epic that had a lot of horror elements to it, that no matter what, you had fun with it. Uh, it didn't try to pertain to one genre or the other, but if I can actually try to look up the synopsis for this. The 17th century New England, a witch hunter, Giles Redfern, captures an evil warlock, but the conjurer eludes death with supernatural help. Flung into the future, the warlock winds up in the 1980s and plans to bring about the end of the world. Redfern follows the enchanter into the modern era and continues his mission, but runs into trouble in such unfamiliar surroundings. With the help of a young woman, can Redfern finally defeat the warlock? This is an amazing film, and you would think probably straight to VHS, uh, especially in the 90s, it's probably not that good. Like, the cast is stunning. Julian Sands plays the warlock. Laurie Singer plays the woman that helps Redfern, and Redfern is played by Richard E. Grant. Did not even know that was Richard E. Grant when I saw him because of the makeup and the wig. I'm so used to Richard E. Grant from like his his romance films and everything. Oh wait, was Richard E. Grant in Dracula? Oh, you know what? I think he played Seward. He looks like he probably played a Seward. But like I remembered him more for like his romance and his drama films, not so much his fantasy and horror stuff, because apparently he's in Corpse Bride too. He was in Logan. I'm trying to realize who he played in Logan. I'm learning a whole bunch of other things. But yeah, it's always good when you see characters like that, because what was it? The Lair of the White Worm had another heartthrob. What I don't was that was Hugh Grant. Um when you watch horror films and you sit there see like all these big drama actors that are more well known for future films, not so much the films that they started out with. Um this is one of them. Warlock does really good justice with Richard E. Grant. Julian Sands just knocks it out of the park. Um yeah, there is like a bit of a MacGuffin chase that they're trying to essentially find like an evil book that is set to give the warlock the ability to destroy the world and have the world be recreated by Satan. I love the lore and all the little things that this film gets really creative. And how are you supposed to defeat a very powerful magical being who is still mortal, as I may say? He's still mortal. Um, but like one of the interesting bits about this that I really enjoyed was there is this information that Laurie Singer's character is given by Richard E. Grant when they're trying to chase down the warlock and the warlock is barefooted. They sit there and he tells them, take a nail and drive it into uh the footprint of the warlock. And she's kind of very questionable, like, what? Like what is that gonna do? And he's like, just trust me, because he was trying to help out this other guy who accidentally looked into the warlock's eyes, and he wanted to help this Mennonite guy. He did not want him to suffer and lose his sight and everything. And so Laurie Singer goes and does it, and lo and behold, the warlock starts screaming, and he's like holding on to his foot, and it's like, oh my god, this is actually working. So I love the magic in this world, even though like some of the effects doesn't always look good. You could tell where there's some blue screen work that it's like, ooh, trying to put that in HD or 4K does not look good. But at the same time, I think films of the 80s and 90s were never really meant, especially for the video home market, like the straight to video home market, that they were meant to be seen on film in the format of what they were. Otherwise, you start seeing a lot of the imperfections, maybe some of the wire work that wasn't properly erased or whatever. um, or just bad blue screen and everything. But I love this film. I am contemplating watching the sequel of this and everything, because there's two other ones. There's Armageddon, and then I forgot what the other one was. I don't know if it'll. You know what? I may just have to actually look up. Yeah, I figured. I typed in Warlock and it's given me the D&D thing. So I know 2 is Armageddon. Yeah, that came out in 93, and this was made in 89. And then there was another one that came out that Julian Sands did not play the Warlock, but they did do one more called The End of Innocence in 99, and that was Bruce Payne. Bruce Payne looks very familiar. Okay, so he did do the Dungeons and Dragons movies. He did the Highlander Endgame. Mostly known for playing villains. He's part of the Brit Pack in the late 1980s. But I feel like... Oh, he did the Howling the Freaks? God, he must have really needed the money. I feel like this guy did one of the... I feel like he did one of the oh bloody hell, now I can't even think of the other film. There's another Wishmaster. Because I know that they only had the original guy for like the first 3 in that one, and then they recast them. Okay, so I could be thinking of a whole different other actor. But yeah, watch Warlock. Warlock is a fun film. I think you guys will enjoy Warlock. If you really enjoy some good horror fantasy adventure. I'm actually trying to see who wrote the script for this. David Twohy. I have no clue how to say his last name. What else? He wrote Waterworld. God, I can't even speak. Waterworld, The Fugitive, Pitch Black, The Chronicles of Riddick, G.I. Jane, The Perfect Getaway. He wrote Critters too. Oh, this is epic. The Arrival, Riddick, Furia. What? Pitch Black, Slam City, Riddick's Blindside, Imposter, Below. Hold on. What is this Riddick 4 crap? I didn't know that they made a movie of this. It's an upcoming science fiction film. Oh, David actually directed these films too. So when's it supposed to come out? Riddick finally returns to his homeworld, a place he barely remembers and one he fears might be left in ruins by the necromongers. But there he finds other Furians fighting for their existence against a new enemy, and some of these Furians are more like Riddick than he could ever imagine. This has been in development since 2016. February 2023, the film was finally announced. Filming began August 23rd in 2024 in Germany, Spain, and the United Kingdom. Huh. Well, that's principal photography, though. Interesting. I didn't even know that we were even going to get another Riddick film. My final film, and it's a very, very hard one to kind of wrap my brain over it, but it's part of William Peter Blatty's Faith trilogy, which that would be The Exorcist, The Ninth Configuration, which is the film I watched, and then he concluded it with The Exorcist 3. I'll just read off my review first for this. A strange brew from a film's writer-director William Peter Blatty, The Ninth Configuration is one-half comedy that quickly turns into a dark, serious psychological drama. It's strange that this was labeled as horror, but some of the imagery is something you would see from the genre. One hell of an amazing cast with Stacy Keach as the leader, followed by Scott Wilson, which, if you guys don't know who Scott Wilson is, he played the farmer from The Walking Dead. He was Maggie's daddy. Can't believe I'm drawing a blank on it. Jason Miller, did the Exorcist films and everything. Ed Flanders, who's in Exorcist 3, and Tom Atkins. Tom Atkins has a small role. I'm sorry, but any film that has Tom Atkins in it's a thumbs up. I love him. Out of the Fates films, Blighty has written, I think I prefer his Exorcist films, but I feel like the Ninth Configuration could be a sleeper hit that grows on me. Definitely demanding me to give it a second watch. And it does, because at the end of that movie, it felt like I really need to rewatch this film. I definitely feel like it's a film that you cannot have it on the background and do whatever and then expect it to keep up on it. It doesn't. Um, it's yeah, it's trying to actually sit there and describe what this film is. That's the hard thing. Um, it's interesting. It's different. Even watching something that this film is over 46. God, the 80s were almost 50 years ago. It's 46 years old. The 46-year-old film, and there's a lot of this that I really have to take in. The imagery of Jesus on the cross while the astronauts in space having some type of mental breakdown. It's one hell of an acted cast. I definitely feel like I need a second watch to really give my honest opinions. There are a lot of trigger stuff in here. Um, I don't know how the hell to say this without actually getting possibly flagged for this, but rhymes with grape. Yeah, there's that. Um, the wittiness that actually goes between Stacy Keach, Ed Flanders, Jason Miller, Scott Wilson, all these guys right here. They're all essentially men in the military, some type of form of military. Stacy Keach and Scott Wilson are in fact Marines, and that kind of plays in something a little bit later on with the Nazi biker gang. But a lot of the camaraderie, the back and forthness and everything, I definitely feel like TV shows like Fleabag kind of borrow something like this, where the film kind of definitely feels like it's some type of drama comedy, a dramedy, as I may say. It's something like that. And then the moment that a lot of the really serious, heavy stuff starts kicking in, it kind of feels like you have been made so vulnerable with a comedy that you don't want nothing to happen to these guys. You don't want nothing wrong to really happen to these guys. And in the moment it starts happening, bam, it hits hard, and you're like, where did this come from? I was having a fun, great time. Why is everyone going through this? And then you kind of also reminded, oh, well, this castle is also a mental institution for these men in the military that have lost it. And it's like, oh crap, I forgot about that because we were having so much fun. And in the moment that the drama really kicks into high gear, that it actually feels more like a psychological drama, you're left kind of heartbroken by the end of this. Like, the film does have a really good ending. It's one of the very few films, I think, that Blatty has done where it's actually a very good ending, outside of the Pink Panther films, obviously. But this is one where, like, it gut punched you really, really hard. It disarmed me so well that upon when all the seriousness started hit, it was like, wow. There is a lot of talk about faith, so if you're not into that, and by that I don't mean like in a very lazy kind of way of like Hallmark style, but there are things that they do ask questions about like a man's faith, um, does making a noble sacrifice make me like a good person as well? There's also those type of questions that I feel like the film asks. I think I will feel more confident on a second watch to like really talk about the heavy themes and whatnot with this film. But I give it 3.5 stars. I think probably once I watch it for the second, maybe I'll bump the rating up. But this is one I don't think you can miss if you really enjoy if you really kind of enjoy films like these, this is a film you cannot miss. Um, that's kind of it so far with the film diary and everything. Oh, sorry, wrong thing. I watched a handful of films. I kind of I kind of enjoyed this. I enjoyed this very unscripted. Not like everything is like heavily scripted, but like I don't really have a segment like, oh, we're gonna jump to this segment, that segment. Um, I like just sitting here and just talking about films with you guys and everything. And what do you guys think of these films? What have you been watching um, for the month of January and everything? If you guys are watching this as like the VOD post live and everything, drop that down in the comments below. I will remind you guys that this coming Monday, though, you guys will see me again, so you guys don't have to wait a whole nother week. But we are going to be covering Charlie Chaplin's career. Not this book exactly. I kind of use this as a little bit of a basis to kind of learn about some of the films. But in a two-parter, we're going to be covering the latter half of Charlie Chaplin's career towards the end of February. I kind of like figured, oh, I can do these like towards the end of the month. It's something to kind of build up and look forward to. But Monday, we're going to be sitting there. We're going to be talking about a handful of Charlie Chaplin films. Hopefully that you guys have seen and enjoy. I have a few here on the list of what we're going to cover, like The Immigrant, Gold Rush, and Modern Times. I cannot wait to sit there and just discuss Charlie Chaplin. So if you're a big Chaplin fan watching this and everything, tune in Monday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time here for our live stream and everything. I can't wait to sit there and discuss that and hear your guys' point of views and whatnot on Chaplin's works. I absolutely love him, and I learned in film school that kind of like almost similar like in high school, you either get algebra or geometry. In film school, you become a fan of one or two men, and that would be from the silent era, Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton. I lean more towards Chaplin, but I also enjoy quite a bit of Keaton's works and everything. I like a lot of Keaton's fast-paced stunts. Charlie did his own stunts too, but they weren't nearly as outlandishly Tom Cruise like. That's what Buster Keaton. If you're looking for some Tom Cruise level of stunts, you'll enjoy a good Buster Keaton short. But we're gonna be talking about Charlie on this coming Monday and everything. I may try to stream at least once a week. This month I kind of felt like I felt a little tired out in December. Like maybe I overdid it, but maybe if I do stream once a week, maybe have a break in between or so. I really miss going live, you guys. I really do. Kind of felt like the last time that I went live, I was like, wow, I feel rusty and I don't want to be rusty. But yeah, I'll see you guys all on the 26th for Charlie Chaplin and everything. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and everything. Stay safe from this Arctic storm that's blowing on by. So who knows? Maybe you guys are watching this while you're sitting out the storm. What a way to stay cozy and hear about so many different genres of film. We covered animation to drama, horror, whatever the fuck Singles was, your avant-garde art film, dystopian, whatever, City of Lost Children, you can name it, to like your meta humor and then your questions of faith film. Yeah, we covered quite a bit. I like to have a variety. I may be the Gothic storyteller, but I do love a lot of variety. I do more than just watch Gothic films. I promise you guys that much. But we are going to wrap this up. Thank you guys again so much again for being here. I love and appreciate y'all for sticking on by. Thank you, sis, for being here. And yeah, there's links below to my socials, to support links and everything. You don't have to sit there and always drop money for the support, but sometimes your view and your like and comment, that those still help me. It helps me find my community, and that's just as much as helpful. And thank you guys for that. Thank you guys for blowing up the top 5 Gothic horror films of the 1960s. I am still currently working. I actually have the script done for the 70s. I just got to break that down to production script. I have that done. And yeah, I'm probably going to have to still shift around quite a few release dates. because of what happened. But yeah, you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys all later. See ya. Bye bye.